Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and I just want to give you an overview of some letters that have been going back and forth, and statements and everything from some of the committees in the House, and this one's in the Senate, okay? So just wanted to let you know some of the things going on behind the scenes that you may not know about, and, it has to do with things that are going on in the news that you do hear about. And so, anyway, this is from the Senate Judiciary Committee, and this is the Democrats who are upset. And so they sent a letter to the Assistant AG saying, why didn't the DOJ investigate President Trump's actions? They're all ticked off because they can't understand why he's not being investigated for solicitation of foreign interference in the 2020 election. Maybe it's because he was talking about the 2016 election in the past, which the Democrats were all high and mighty and focused on trying to find out the root of and to, get at that foreign interference. But now all of a sudden, they don't care about foreign interference in the 2016 election. Anybody notice that? Well, anyway, so this is, I'm not going to read all of these letters because they'll just be mind-numbing if I do. But here's one, and it's to our friend Brian B. I think it's Binkowski, but I'm not sure. Anyway, he's the Assistant Attorney General of the Criminal Division, and so they've decided that they need to get at him and talk about, why we request an explanation of the department's decision that no further action was warranted in connection with President Trump's July 25th call with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky. Maybe because there was nothing wrong with it, So, yeah, they want to know, they're all bent out of shape because of it. It's just not fair. It's not right. It's not right. And so here are all their lovely little questions that they want no later than October 24th. Kind of wondering what they're going to end up getting. What department components and individuals were consulted prior to the department's concluding that, quote, no further action was warranted? What evidence did the department consider beyond the summary of the July 25th call, if any? What else do you need? The July 25th call pretty much laid it out there, but you want to read something else into it. Did the department refer the matter to the FEC as required? Yeah, I believe they did. I'm pretty sure they did. Did the department consider whether President Trump or any other individuals, including but not limited to other executive branch officials and Rudy Giuliani, violated any statutes other than this one right here in connection with the conduct described in the whistleblower complaint? And what role did OLC, the Office of Legal Counsel, play in the department's decision that there was, quote, no campaign finance violation and, quote, no further action was warranted? Did OLC evaluate whether the whistleblower complaint implicated potential criminal violations before OLC concluded that the complaint should be referred to the criminal division rather than forwarded to Congress? Did they read the actual transcript? Oh no, So anyway, Dianne Feinstein, she's behind that, but it's signed by all of them, I think. What a lovely group this is. When you look at their names, it's like, oh yeah, those are the people. So anyway, that's what's been going on in the judiciary. And then let's go to the Oversight and Reform, which no longer has a chairman. And I'm really not sure why, you still go to his website and it has nothing more than that little tiny press release that says virtually nothing. Just kind of weird to me. It's almost like nobody cares that the guy's gone. Everything has just gone on. So yeah, these are a couple of letters I wanted to point out to you because they have to do with the tax division of the U.S. Department of Justice and the Commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service. So in other words, they're sicking the Internal Revenue and Tax Division of the DOJ on someone. Guess who they're sicking them on? The NRA. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all this. It makes a lot of accusations about outrageous payments and this and that for salaries and things. And frankly, I didn't think the numbers were very outrageous at all. I mean, obviously it's a whole lot more than I make, but that's just it looked to me like they were pretty in line with what most people in organizations like that would be earning. Maybe they're a little high, but I don't know. And so here's the one to the Internal Revenue Service. So in other words, they don't like the NRA, so they are sicking the IRS on them. That's really what this is. You need to investigate them. That's what these letters say. So that's very interesting. And I wanted to tell you this, that they have all these, footnotes. Well, the footnotes, if you look at where they're getting their information, is, these are just saying some things. The Trace. Now, I'm not familiar with that publication, The Trace, but they've used that in a couple of them. But mostly it's from WAPO, NPR, New York Times. I mean, when you go through, that's almost where they exclusively are from. Look at this. You got Washington Post. You've got The Trace. Again, I'm not familiar with that, but they did use it a couple times, so I need to go look at it, I guess. The New Yorker, the Washington Post, and down here, Moar. I mean, this is pretty much what they have. I mean, these are government type things that they're pointing out. So it just is amazing to me. This letter is almost the same, by the way. It's almost exactly the same letter. So the two of them are just about, I mean, there's a slight change, I think, at the end, but not much. And so, yeah, and they're getting all of their information from those sources. And then, of course, we've been talking about Jerry Nadler. He's been a little bit on the quiet side. Well, he hasn't really. And, of course, he has to make known his opinion on the Doral Resort hosting the G7. Now, what they keep forgetting, and if you haven't seen the Mick Mulvaney presser on when he announced this, you really need to see it, because I thought he did a very good job handling these guys, kind of putting them in their place, and he addressed all the questions he knew they were going to bring up when he made his statement. And so it was like, I already know you're going to ask this, and I already know you're going to ask this. And it's like, so the big thing that they're talking about, the Democrats, is the Emoluments clause. That's the huge thing. But the point is, at the Doral Resort, they're not going to make any money off of that. They're doing it at cost. The problem we have is that the Trump properties are such good locations, and they are of the high class quality that you use to host leaders of other countries. And so that's why it was chosen. It was chosen because of the logistics, because everything can be in that one location, and you don't have to have one delegation here at that hotel and another one at that hotel, and then you have to have transportation between them and everything. Everything is kind of self-contained at Doral, and that's why they suggested it. If Trump were not president, it would still be an ideal place for the G7. But because he owns it, they're trying to claim emoluments clause. But it can't be, because they're not making any money off of it. So he is receiving absolutely no value for it. So, but that's what they're claiming here. And, Jerry's not happy. I'll tell you, Jerry needs to take care of his health, because, he had that one little spell a while back. He doesn't look real good, and he gets in, sometimes in these meetings, he gets really angry, and his face just kind of turns beet red, and the old veins start throbbing, and, kind of worried about Jerry there. Well, I'm not worried, but anyway, he may be joining Elijah sooner than you think. But this is the background. He says that, they sent this letter on September 6th. Well, it's actually dated September 5th. And it goes to Pat Cipollone. And he's, the counsel of the president. And it just basically says, we're very upset. These potential violations of the foreign and domestic emoluments clauses. And, whoa, you need to stop. Yeah, okay. It's the same stuff. It really is the same garbage over and over. And look at all their sources. Washington Post, CNN, Washington Post, CNN, Washington Post, Irish Times, at least they got something different, CNN. Yeah, if it weren't for CNN and Washington Post and the New York Times, these people would have no sources on anything. And this is put out by Jerry Nadler and Steve Cohen. Oh, by the way, these back here that were put out on the 16th by the Oversight Committee, these are signed by Connolly, who is the chairman of the subcommittee on government operations, and then the Raskin, who is the chairman of the subcommittee on civil rights and civil liberties. Okay, now I want to know really how either of those have the right to call for an investigation into the NRA. I don't think either one of them do. Now, granted, no, nonprofit organization like that is going to be out of the purview of the government. I understand that, but I don't see how it fits under either of those two subcommittees. But maybe I'm wrong on that. But it's not a government organization, and it's not civil rights and civil liberties. Why are they doing this? And how do they justify that in their oversight role for those committees? Because Elijah Cummings couldn't sign it, or someone signing it for him couldn't forge his name before he passed away or something. I don't know. This was on the 16th, though. He was still breathing then. So anyway, that's what I've got for you on these. I just wanted to let you know the kinds of things that are going on. And, the Democrats are very upset. So they're sending all these letters back and forth and trying their best to bluster their way through this and to throw all these accusations at Trump, even though they've been debunked. I mean, they're not true. And Mulvaney did a really good job dispelling them. So I'm going to get a clip from Mulvaney and put him on here, and then I'll leave the link down below to the full presser, and you can go ahead and watch that if you haven't seen it. It's about a half an hour long, I think, but he did a really good job with it, I thought.
So we're going to talk about the G7. We talk about what we're going to do. We're going to announce today that we're going to do the 46th G7 Summit on June 10th through June 12th at the Trump National Doral facility in Miami, Florida. Now, let's talk about the site selection process, because I know you folks will have some questions about that. How do we go about doing this? First of all, we use a lot of the same criteria that have been used by past administrations. There's a long list of the accommodations on site, the ballrooms, bilateral rooms, the number of rooms, the photo ops, the support hotels that are there, the proximity to cities and airports, helicopter landing zones, medical facilities, etc. So we use the same set of criteria that previous administrations have used. We started with a list of about a dozen just on paper. And we sent an advanced team out to actually visit 10 locations in several states. We visited California, Colorado, Florida, Hawaii, Michigan, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Utah. We got that list down to just under 10, and the advanced team went out to visit those. And from there, we got down to 4 finalists that our senior team went out to look at. They looked at, I think it was 1 in Hawaii, 2 in Utah, and then the Mar-a-Lago facility in Florida. And it became apparent at the end of that process that Doral was by far and away the best physical facility for this meeting. In fact, I was talking to one of the advanced teams when they came back, and I said, what was it like? And he said, Mick, you're not going to believe this, but it's almost like they built this facility to host this type of event. If any of you have been there, you know that there's separate buildings with their own rooms, separate and apart from each building, so that one country could have a building, another country could have another, you folks could have your building for the press, and obviously the common areas are going to be perfect for our needs down there. Again, anticipating your questions, how is this not an emoluments violation? How is the president going to profit from this? I think the president has pretty much made it very clear since he's got here that he doesn't profit from being here. He has no interest in profit from being here. It's one of the reasons that he's not taken a salary since he's been here, has given that salary to charity. Will not be profiting here. We had talked about the possibility of whether or not the president could actually do it at no cost. They understand there's difficulties with doing it that way. But we also have difficulties, obviously, if they charge market rates. So they're doing this at cost. As a result, it's actually going to be dramatically cheaper for us to do it at Doral compared to the other final sites that we had. So we're looking forward to that meeting. Again, June 10th through 12th. of next year for the 46th G7.
So that's what I've got for you on this one. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.